What's up, guys? I've got a little bit of a different video for you all today. This video I'm focusing more on not a team but a Pokemon, because I don't really think I have done Shadow Gardevoir justice with the teams that I've made. I feel like they can be improved a little bit. Both have pretty clear weaknesses, or sorry, the two teams that I did try had pretty clear weaknesses, but at the same time, tomorrow I do want to be trying out some new Pokemon. I will revisit Shadow Gardevoir later in the season. But right now, I just wanted to kind of shine some light on a Pokemon that was maybe held back a little bit by the prominence of Shadow Victreebel and Bastiodon being everywhere. And Grasshole, Shadow Gardevoir doesn't really have any play against any of those Pokemon. But with the Razor Leaf nerfs, I figured I would bring Gardevoir out, even though the teams... They were pretty successful. Like, I mean, I went 3-2, but I felt like I could have been doing a lot better. Gardevoir was a shining light in all of them. It absolutely does a ton of damage and was carrying these teams. And yeah, if you guys want to try some of these teams, that's fine. But if you want to tinker and find maybe some better teams, I think that's probably a better option. Before we get right into this video, though, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters as always. But yeah, let's get into the Shadow Gardevoir video. And I'll talk a little bit about how Shadow Gardevoir plays as we take a look at this. So in this first game, I decided to go with Shadow Gardevoir, Deoxys Defense, and Toxicroak. Sorry, for the first two and a little bit sets. The main reason behind this was I now have two fighting types that can take care of, not fighting types, counter users that can take care of the steals that wall Gardevoir. They also both have coverage moves to be able to hit Poison, which is the other type that kind of resists. So in Psycho Boost and Mud Bomb. This video is lagging a little bit at the beginning, but if you can see, I'm actually running Charge Beam in this first game. So this is your reminder. Remember to TM your Pokemon. Otherwise, this happens. Right? So the benefit of Charge Beam is that, look, I'm already at Synchronize already. So Charge Beam, Gardevoir, Shadow Gardevoir, I get to 2 Synchronizes, and I'm actually able to beat Galvantula in the one shield. Who knew? So this isn't a very good representation. It's actually stuttering and lagging around a lot, but they come in with Obstagoon, take me down, and I'm going to come in with Toxicroak. I bait with the Mud Bomb. Where in reality I probably should have just went for the Sludge Bomb, but they just leave anyways. That's one of the benefits of this team. When you're actually running Charm instead of Charge Beam, the games are extremely fast. I played all my games in maybe 2/3 of the time that I normally do. So if you're time crunched, Shadow Gardevoir is the girl for you, or boy, I guess they could be male as well. It's the person for you. So in comes Tropius, and I'm going to get a call. But Pokemon Go is more important than that. I'm just kidding, that was a spam call anyways. And I'm going to stay in for a little bit against this Tropius because my backline actually doesn't do well against it at all. I stay in, and the reason I'm fine with spending 2 shields here is because Shadow Gardevoir hits so hard with charge moves that I'm likely going to be able to get a shield back regardless. So Umbreon comes in, and this is just me not being used to the Pokemon. I was ready to throw a charge move, but Umbreon actually resists both of those charge moves, right? So that's why I actually decided to swap out and save Gardevoir's charge move for later. Whereas obviously Gardevoir absolutely chunks Umbreon. I swapped to Deoxys, and this might actually, I was thinking this might have actually been a game losing play, but I'm able to wear down the switch a little bit. I'm able to burn a shield, and I'm going to come in with Toxicroak, which essentially walls Umbreon. Last Resort does a ton of damage, I think, as we'll see here. But I'm still in a pretty safe spot, and they're going to go back into their Sirfetch'd. I throw a Shadow Ball. I really should have thrown a Synchronize. Like, this is just learning a team, right? Like, learning a Pokemon that you haven't really played before. And as you can see, it's absolutely deletes everything. I'm not sure why. I was having a lot of lag in GBL. I think this happens whenever they open up leagues again, or like a new league, or have new changes and everyone's playing right at the beginning. But I had a lot of games ruined by lag, and as you can see, there's a lot of stuttering. So they're going to go into Registeel. In this case, I'm going to swap into Toxicroak. Toxicroak and Deoxys Defense can both kind of deal with Registeel, but I have not played Toxicroak into Registeel in an extremely long time. I know I have to undercharge, but I probably could have undercharged a little bit more and come up with a little bit more energy. because unfortunately Skarmory's coming out. So this isn't an ideal situation for me. Skarmory is really good against Shadow Gardevoir, but I really need my Deoxys to be able to deal with it, and in the 2 shield, I think it's actually pretty comfortable. I no shield here, because I want to save shields for Gardevoir at this point in time. I throw the Psycho Boost, because I can clear my debuff, and get the shield, and I'm going to come in with Gardevoir. I have 2 shields remaining, so I know I'm going to have to use one on the Swampert to take it down. Shadow Swampert especially gets beaten harder by Gardevoir. And then when Skarm comes out, I have a couple different plays I can make here. I burn the last shield with this Synchronoise, which gives me a pretty comfortable position. I can honestly stay in and shield, or I can switch out, and they know that. So they try and go for the only play they can, farm me down, have 2 Sky Attacks, and take out Deoxys. But it's just not going to be quite enough. Gardevoir chunks Skarmory, even if it is resisted. So Galarian Stunfisk lead. I'm not sure why I'm staying in this. This is poor play because they're probably just going to bait a Rock Slide, whereas if I swap to Deoxys, they'll at least have to throw Earthquakes. Yeah, sorry about the stuttering video, guys. I don't know what's happening. And they're going to swap right into Galvantula, and I'm going to be able to throw a Psycho Boost here. 2 Psycho Boosts, actually, and just whittle this thing down. It's not like my backline is really that weak against it, but I just want to deal as much damage as I can. The problem is I throw these Psycho Boosts and debuff myself, and this Galvantula kind of has free reign, farming all the way down with Volt Switches, so I have to make a pretty tough decision here. I'm pretty sure it's going to throw a Lunge because it thinks my Gardevoir is coming back in and has to throw it right away. So I come in with Toxicroak to tank the debuff. I'm pretty sure they have 2 though, so I have to move into Gardevoir, and I was kind of hoping that I would catch a Discharge here. But it was a Lunge. They went for the double Lunge. And I probably should have just let it happen. Galarian Stunfisk comes back in. I'm going to throw a Synchronoise at it just because they'll shield anything. Anyways, everyone expects a Shadow Ball. And the Rock Slide will come through, which unfortunately does not take me down. So I'm able to get farmed down instead. And it's a Deoxys in the back. So incoming Psycho Boost. And Toxicroak does not appreciate that Psycho Boost. So yeah, Gardevoir didn't really get to do much in this game, but I think that was more of a failure of being able to win back switch advantage or play around that. I kind of let my Deoxys get farmed down. So Marowak lead, this is a disaster, by the way, for this team. Marowak lead, and then I think eventually Beedrill were the 2 reasons I ended up switching this team in the first place. It has play against pretty much everything else. The problem is this Alolan Marowak and other ghost types, I guess, where you can't really do too much with the back line. So this Alolan Marowak, I have to come in with Deoxys and Shield, and they get the defense drop as well and go into Wiggly. So I switch into Toxicroak, go for the Sludge Bomb. I'm just hoping they let it through because that's my only win condition, which they do. But unfortunately, it's a double Charmer team, and I have no play against this. So my team is pretty weak to Charm in the first place. But with a combination of Alolan and Marowak, that team is a 0% win situation. And here we go. Look, this is a Frillish right now. Potentially a Pokemon. Well, no, the evolved form is potentially a Pokemon I might be using in an upcoming video. Just to, well, if there's any success rate. Like, I'm not going to show you teams that I don't believe in or Pokemon that I don't think are good. Like, I try plenty of things behind the scenes that you guys definitely don't get to see, because I wouldn't want to mislead you into spending Stardust in a certain way. Let's see. Yeah, this next set, we're running the same team, so it's a Galvantula lead. This is unfortunate, because I think my opponent lags here, but I have a couple games, and I take damage there. Like, I took damage much later. I thought he was still attacking, and it was just a visual thing, because that does happen to one of my opponents in a later match, because I really don't like winning like this. Like, that doesn't feel good, to me at least. So unfortunately I win that one, but I don't know. It was a pretty good lead. I think you just win the one shield. Politoed, this is a bit trickier. I swapped to try and catch a Weather Ball now. Yep, that's the new update. Politoed now has Weather Ball instead of Surf, which makes it actually a monster. If I had a Politoed, I definitely would be trying some teams with it as well. It's just so spammy. Yeah, and we're going to see an Alolan Marowak switch. So the funny thing is, even though this is Deoxys defense right now, this is exactly where I want to see the Alolan Marowak, right? Deoxys is sadly my best counter for this Pokemon, which is not saying much. But this puts me in a pretty rough situation on who I want to go in with next. And I'm just going to try and get to this Mud Bomb to KO the Alolan Marowak. But unfortunately, they shield. I think they realize how badly I need this Marowak down, and they swap out into their Alolan Ninetales. So Charmer on Charmer action. Unfortunately, even though they have a shield down, I can't. Shadow Gardevoir does not beat Alolan Ninetales, just because it is less tanky, right? So if you're running the same fast move and neither resists, the tankier Pokemon is always going to win. Shadow Gardevoir has no bulk. It will lose to every Charmer. Straight up. Same with Victory Bell versus Razor Leaf, except it also has the poison subtyping. But it'll lose to Ivysaur and Vileplume and all those tankier grass poison Pokemon. So not off to a hot start in this set, but we see a Shadow Hypno next. This is something that Shadow Victory Bell cannot deal with at all. But they get to their fourth Confusion. Shadow Gardevoir is still very healthy. And they're going to swap out into Shadow Swampert. So I'm absolutely going to stay in for this. Swampert demolishes my back line, and Gardevoir demolishes Swampert. So I make a swap here to catch a Hydro Cannon instead of spending a shield. In hindsight, I probably should have just finished Charming the Swampert down. I could have easily done it and not taken 2 Hydro Cannons to the face of Deoxys defense, which has kind of been sacrificed here. So at this point, I am really just hoping that Toxicroak has amazing play versus their back line. And it does have amazing play versus Machamp. But I go in right away before my switch timer's up, so this is a huge mistake. And I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb too, which is also a huge mistake. So I'm just making mistake after mistake. But luckily my switch timer's up now, and that's a 3-shot. That's a 3-shot from Shadow Gardevoir onto Shadow Machamp. You love to see it, and Toxicroak being alive in the back is going to give me that win right there. We're going to see an Umbreon lead here, so absolutely perfect for Shadow Gardevoir. You do have to shield because you're part Psychic as well, unfortunately, but I get the extra Charm through. I'll expend 1 shield. It doesn't KO, but it's quite a bit, and in comes Drifblim. So Drifblim, also a Pokemon that my backline cannot handle at all. So Gardevoir, this is where I'm starting to notice a trend. I'm like, wow, my team cannot handle Ghost-type Pokemon, or my backline can't, and my frontline can't handle Fire-type Pokemon, so what about these Ghost-Fire Pokemon? So I shield for the simultaneous KO, and I'm assuming they're going to bring their Umbreon back in, but instead they bring in Sableye. So this is a bit of a tough match now. Sableye, another Ghost, so double Ghost in the back. Makes this game very, very challenging. Yeah, so this is when I'm like, wait, there's some flaws with this team. Gardevoir can handle Sableye, but not really that well. And yeah, you're going to see just how much damage return does to Sableye, or Toxicroak. Toxicroak is not very tanky. So yeah, at this point, I'm starting to realize there's some holes. I want to keep playing it out just to see how common these Ghost types will be, even though I think Sableye is one of the better safe switches in the game, and I feel like a lot of people will be playing him. There's a lot of lag here, so I'm not sure about the count. So I shield, but it's a Mud Bomb, which I probably could have let go. So Gardevoir versus Toxicroak is a great matchup. And then in comes Azumarill. So in this version of this team, honestly, all Pokemon are kind of okay against Azumarill. I just kind of really want to take the shield. And I think I'll shield again. Just an Ice Beam. In hindsight, I probably should just be switching at this point. But depending on the IVs of the Azumarill, this one is not a very good IV Azumarill. You can take it down with 1 shield. If it is a very good IV Azumarill, then you're in some problems. But luckily, their backline is an Umbreon, and this team loves to see it, right? I have a counter user in the back, too. I just have to pressure Umbreon a little bit. Remember, I still have Gardevoir and I still have Deoxys. So even though Umbreon will likely take out the Toxicroak, I'm still in a pretty comfortable position here. And it doesn't even, so they'll GG out there as well. Yeah, so this set definitely was questionable, but we still end up with 3 wins, which is gains, right? And I think this ends up being a usable Frostlass in Great League or Sylph Cups or whatever in the future as well. But I think at the beginning of the next set, I have a couple rough first games. Yeah, look at that progress. Slow and steady after a tank. Kind of trying to learn Grass Hole and failing on stream. But we have a Swampert lead here. So a very good lead. If you get the Charm through, it's likely you will only have to spend 1 shield. But I decide to try and catch instead. I don't know why I keep doing this, because it's just much easier to just take them out. But in this case, I can bait out the Altaria for my Toxicroak. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt first, just so I don't debuff myself. I want to get as much damage done to this Altaria as possible, because I don't want it to be able to reach 2 Sky attacks versus my Gardevoir. And it's not like you're really farming anything down at that point. So I do get the shield back. Honestly, it's pretty important, I think. I'll definitely shield my Gardevoir here. And I'm really just hoping they don't get to that 2nd Sky attack. But they swap out to Beedrill. And at this point, it's game over, right? So this was a frustrating loss because I felt like it was a team building loss as well as an execution loss, right? But the Beedrill in the back, none of my Pokemon can really handle a Beedrill with 2 shields. So yet another Pokemon added to the list of, oh, my team can't handle this. That's when it's maybe time to switch it up. So yeah, this is what I'm doing right here. I decide to go with the Galarian Stunfisk because I do think Galarian Stunfisk is probably the best pair with Shadow Gardevoir, and they go with Bastiodon, which I don't think is the best pair. Just because now this team has a severe... It has a severe Galarian Stunfisk weakness. Bastiodon can handle most of the other steals, like Skarmory, but Galarian Stunfisk is a big issue, right? So that's why I think this team might need some work as well, and I didn't want to just showcase it. But we're going to see a Skarmory come in, and I can just counter-switch this with Galarian Stunfisk in hindsight, because it was a Toxicroak lead as well. I probably should have counter-switched it with Bastiodon. The reason why it's not too bad to counter-switch with Galarian Stunfisk is because I might be able to exit this matchup with enough energy to get to an Earthquake versus this Toxicroak as well. And in hindsight, I probably should have thrown my energy before that last Sky Attack, because then I would have been able to make it to an Earthquake for sure. Unfortunately, in this case, I'm going to be 1 mud shot short. Yeah, and I have to throw the Rock Slide. I really hope they're not counting, but they no shield. See, if I had made it, I feel like they weren't counting. I probably could have easily taken out their Toxicroak. I'll blow a shield, save the Gardevoir. The thing is, the other reason to swap Bastiodon in on that is because my core, and look, oh my god. So I lag. This is an extremely one game that becomes not so one. Now I have to blow shields, and they still have a Toxicroak in the back, remember that, right? So we're going to see Foul Play Spam come out. Bastiodon, honestly, Sableye is not very good against Bastiodon, or it's pretty good against Bastiodon, sorry. But this Sableye should have been fainted and had no energy coming out of that matchup. Gardevoir would have easily taken it down with Charm. So this is just, I don't even know. I was having a ton of lag, and it had some very frustrating games. But we started this set out 0-2, so we can see how this goes. They swapped their Altaria out into Lantern. You don't generally want to swap in Pokemon that have long charging charge moves into Shadow Gardevoir, right? But I'm assuming that their hands were tied. The best part about this team is Altaria has no play, so I'm fine staying in there. And they actually come back in with Altaria. So I figured this is maybe my chance to sweep an entire team with Shadow Gardevoir, get that YouTube video right. But those Dragon Breaths just take a little too hard. It's going to be really hard to take out whatever's in the back unless they no-shield this Synchronize. And to be honest, this is probably the hardest Pokemon to take out in the back line anyways for my team, but I have a shield advantage. I have... Yeah, I got a shield advantage with Lead Shadow Gardevoir, and it took out 2 Pokemon, right? So that's a pretty big deal. I'm going to get to this Rock Slide, and it's going to KO. And I still have a Bastiodon on the back. Not that it's that great, it gets Toxicroak anyways. Alright, this next game. Yeah, in this set, I think it went pretty well. I didn't see too many Galarian Stunfisks. We're going to see an Abomasnow lead. So this is pretty rough as well because it outpaces Gardevoir a little bit. So I deal some damage, and then I get out to Galarian Stunfisk to try and bait out their Bastiodon counter here. Luckily, it's just a Sableye, so that makes me, well, it's an Abomasnow lead, so I'm pretty sure it's an Azumarill in the back anyways, right? And the Abomasnow Sableye Azumarill line is extremely common, so I know that if I just spend shields here, I can take out this Sableye and deal a good chunk of damage to whatever comes back in. So Abomasnow comes back in, and I am going to catch the Weather Ball on Bastiodon, because I know they spent all their energy on my Galarian Stunfisk. And they're just going to GG out. So we're never actually going to see that Azu in the back, but I'm pretty sure it's in the back. With the new bubble nerfs, if Azu's not running Hydro Pump, Bastiodon can actually take it down in even shields. So that's pretty good news for Bastiodon players. We're going to see Azumarill in the lead. And look, they're lagging, but throwing, like they're still getting energy. Sometimes 2 bubbles come out at once. It's impossible to count at this point how much energy they have. So I'm just going to hope that their IVs aren't very good. I'm able to KO them. And in this case, I am before they get to that next Ice Beam. And out comes Galarian Stunfisk. This is a problem for my team. It now has an energy lead, so my Galarian Stunfisk can't really deal with it either. I've spent... I made them spend a shield back with Shadow Ball, which is good. But I was kind of hoping they were baiting. Either way, I got to get to this Earthquake, which they catch. So really well played by my opponent. And once again, right, like, they're throwing just mass sky attacks. Like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. The lag was so bad on this day. But I've put myself in a position, even if they caught this, that I can farm down with Bastiodon. And I need to get multiple flamethrowers off here. That's what I know. Or that's my win condition, right? They will have 1 shield, so they'll be able to shield 1. And I have no idea if they're... Yeah, look, they're not attacking. They're just spamming sky attacks. And either they're lagging, I'm lagging. Something is happening. But they come back with Galarian Stunfisk. Their Skarmory is still alive. But what I'm going to try and do is try and get these flamethrowers off. So we're going to see quite a bit of damage come out. And then I'm going to start charging up on my Bastiodon a little bit. I have a shield, remember. And I can't count moves. That's the problem with this, is I have no idea how much energy they have. I'm going to shield. They bait with Rock Slide. So I'm going to throw 1 more and then swap out, because I know they have to spend energy to take down my Gardevoir. At this point, I'm just 1 attack away from getting to a Flamethrower, even though they're that low. I'm going to throw it anyways, right? Bastiodon has such a good matchup versus Skarmory. As long as I get rid of this G-Fisk, the game is over. So I'm able to beat a team with Galarian Stunfisk. That's when I was like, oh, maybe this team has some potential with this line. But I really do think the prominence of Galarian Stunfisk is going to keep it down. We win 3 games here, but honestly, it was really 4. That Sableye game where I lagged and it farmed me all the way down from 100 to 0, I will consider a win, because it really should have been at that point. So I was feeling good. That was like 4 out of 4 wins with that team in that last set. So it was feeling pretty strong, but this set kind of exposed a little bit more of the weaknesses. Here we go with Mew lead, so this is really rough as well. Not only did we lag off the start, but I try and make a really dumb play here and swap out. I really should have committed to just taking down this Mew. Instead, this Mew runs show on me with Surfs, right? Surf is super effective against my back line. It just hits so hard. And I am counting moves, just making sure they're not getting to that next Surf. Unfortunately, they get the Shadow Claw through, so they are at a Surf now, while I'm at a Rock Slide, and they win the CMP tie. So in this case, I actually let my Galarian Stunfisk go down. I really shouldn't have done that. But I'm going to go in with Bastiodon here. So yet another mistake. I thought I could take them down before they got to a Surf. but I miscalculated, and I'm going to have to eat a Surf here as well. So a little bit of bad play, a little bit of, oh, this team can't really handle Mew. But yeah, if I had just stayed in versus that Mew, like this is what feels bad watching it back. If I had just not tried to get fancy against this team, I probably would have been able to win very easily. In this case, it's going to be an uphill battle. Bastiodon has a good matchup, obviously versus Tropius and versus Umbreon. My shield advantage is now gone. But I'll have quite a bit of an energy advantage going into this Umbreon matchup. But you can only do so much. I'm only a couple foul plays away from going down. So, yeah. That's all there is to say about this matchup. They're just going to get to moves faster than I am. I have to get to two more Stone Edges here. Umbreon is just such a monster. Very tanky. Like Bastiodon itself, right? It's one of those Pokemon where if you have a neutral matchup, you're probably going to end up winning. But yeah, they're going to win there. A bit of bad play by my part. I still felt like the team was going strong. Next match was Trogdor 89. Alolan Ninetales, so another Charmer lead. I swap out right away. My backline is fantastic against Charm, and in comes the Obstagoon. So this Pokemon you love to see as a Gardevoir. And honestly, the matchup versus Stunfisk isn't even all that good. They have to, well, they don't have to, but I forced them to shield there, and I'm going to get to that next Earthquake unless they throw another Night Slash. So my one worry is that they come out of this matchup with a ton of energy, and I have to blow shields on Gardevoir. But instead, we both go through a huge lag fest again. And I know I can tank a Night Slash, but I had no idea how much energy they had, and they finally get their boost that they were fishing for that whole time. So Ninetales comes back in. I'm going to come back with Bastiodon, and luckily it's something in the back that is not that great against Bastiodon, right? Pelipper hits it back for super effective damage, but the wing attacks do absolutely nothing. Smackdowns are just chunking, and Pelipper is forced to shield my charge moves. So I can also no shield one more. All I know, or I just need to bring a Stone Edge into the next match. I can either shield here, or I can even save my shield for Gardevoir and just get to a charge move versus their Ninetales as well. So I've got plenty of options. And this game is pretty simple and straightforward. Despite technically a lost lead, right? Gardevoir's not going to be able to beat a tankier Charmer with a faster charge move. There's just no win condition in that lead. No baiting you can do, none of that. This next game, we're going to see Swampert, regular Swampert, and we'll see how this plays out. And I get the extra charm through. So because of this, I'm not going to swap out. And they're going to come in with Drifblim. So this time, like, I stayed in for a little bit, but I think that's because I was used to playing with the Deoxys Toxicroak team, right? I was like, oh, my backline can't handle Drifblim. But in reality, it really can handle Drifblim. So I just build up a little bit, and I go for this Rock Slide, which I think was just going to take out the Drifblim, but they shield. So this is a really good indication to me that whatever they have in the back is probably not going to be able to beat Bastiodon. And it isn't. It's Galvantula. So, yeah, at that point when they shielded Drifblim against and didn't swap out against my Stunfisk, I knew the game was over as well. It was a bit weird that there wasn't a Skarmory to pair with that Swampert, but I'll take it. So another Abomasnow lead. You can kind of assume there's going to be some sort of Azu. This time I am successful in catching the Weather Ball. And here we go. There's the Azu coming right out. Just going to throw some Earthquakes. Get as much damage as possible out onto this Azu. And no shield and Hydro Pump. Yeah, a lot of Azus running Hydro Pump today. I think that you kind of have to versus if you're running to Bastions. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take down that Azu before they get to Ice Beam. So the other thing is Bubble's damage got a little bit nerfed. So this matchup used to be a lot closer with Shadow Gardevoir. It used to end up with very low HP even after double shielding against Azu. But that's not the case anymore, which is very nice. I'm going to throw the Synchro Noise at this Abomasnow and try and catch again. but I miscounted a little bit. And I eat a Weather Ball, and we both swap right away. And it is a Deoxys in the back. So there's a couple options with the Azu line, right? What it can be in the back. It can be Deoxys, it can be Sableye, it can be Alolan Marowak. A couple of those Bastiodon does beat, but Deoxys is not that one. Yeah, one of those fighters that Galarian Stunfisk won't be able to draw out like another Pokemon might be able to, just because it resists the charge move, so they don't want to bring Deoxys into it. This next match, we have Politoed lead. Kind of know how this goes. I decided to no shield this first one, just to see how much damage it does, right? Like, it's all about learning matchups. It is quite a bit, but definitely not that much. And unfortunately, somehow I get fainted, and then I swap, and then I swap again. So I really only meant to go into Bastiodon, but what you see right now is not Bastiodon. That's Galarian Stunfisk, by the way, right? And I think my opponent actually knows it based on their play after this. So I'm just farming down with this Galarian Stunfisk in a Bastiodon costume. So yeah, just full of bugs today, honestly. But they come in with Abomasnow, which is very odd, because I kind of know that it probably would be better. Like, you wouldn't be coming into Abomasnow or into you wouldn't be coming into Bastiodon with Abomasnow. You would be coming into Stunfisk with Abomasnow. So the opponent knew what was up. Luckily, I have 2 shields and a Bastiodon left. A real Bastiodon, so I get the real Bastiodon. Please stand up. Comes in and should be able to deal with this Politoed. Yeah, I thought they might be baiting me for an Earthquake. I wasn't sure if they were running Legacy, Earthquake, or if they were running Blizzard, but it looks like they were running Earthquake. And Bastiodon should be easily able to take down this. Whoa, maybe not. Was I wrong? Weather Ball, yep. So Bastiodon is fine, gets that Stone Edge, and is able to take down this Abomasnow. Yeah, so more bugs in GBL today. A very frustrating day to play, even though I ended up winning a lot of sets. Yeah, so yeah, in hindsight, honestly, Shadow Gardevoir felt really strong today with the absence of Shadow Victory Bell around, with the absence of Bastiodon around for the most part. I really don't know what else to pair with it. Both of these teams definitely had their holes. I think the first one really was Ghosts and Alolan Marowak and Beedrill. The second one is going to be Galarian Stunfisk. So I'll go back to the drawing board later at a later time and try and iron out a better Shadow Gardevoir team. But in the meantime, I will be trying to work out some of these new Pokemon added. Maybe Jellicent, maybe Politoed. It's not a new Pokemon, but like, it wasn't really in Great League before, so I'll consider it a new Pokemon. The rest of the moves won't really change too much. But yeah, if you guys like this kind of content, feel free to let me know. If you guys like the regular team breakdowns that I do, let me know as well. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching.